movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 163. I had a specific discussion topic in mind that I wanted to do, and I had it all ready to go, but I'm like, let's save that for next week with the release of Uncharted. Then we'll do a tie-in, and we'll kind of revisit our very first ever podcast topic for those of you that have been with us that long. I think it's time to come back to the table on that, because there's things currently happening and things that will be happening in the world of video game to movie or TV adaptations that I think have kind of shifted, but we'll talk about that next week. This week, we're just going to have fun and laugh at stupid stuff, because that's what we excel at here. We've talked about our favorite comedies, but this week we're going to talk specifically about our favorite funny moments, whether it's individual jokes, lines, scenes, just specific moments from movies that will always make us laugh. Some of these movies that we're going to talk about today, I don't even like the movie as a whole, but there's specific parts that I always get out of it that I enjoy. So we're going to have fun with that, because sometimes you just need a fun night, and that's what we're going to do. Josh, how you doing tonight on this fun night?
It's fun night. I'm chilling, bro. It's definitely been a couple days. I won't get into it. Car stuff has been interesting.
Still?
This past couple. I'll tell you about it off pod, but yeah, it's gonna be very interesting, very quick. But let's see, man. I haven't just been working. It's been real slow this week. I've been playing through. Doing another playthrough through Spider-Man, and I'm at 95% on the game. And the only way to get to the rest of the 5 is to go through and 3-star all of the Taskmaster stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? I already beat Taskmaster. I don't even need to deal. I'm just gonna go to the DLC. So I can deal with that.
So what difficulty are you playing it on?
Okay, well, we're not going to talk about that, but that doesn't matter, because it's just literally just like easy or whatever. It's like easy or medium or something like that. I came for the enjoyable
friendly neighborhood
gaming.
Spider-Man. Friendly neighborhood. Yeah. I think there's friendly neighborhood, amazing, spectacular, and sensational.
I think, I don't remember. I might go back through and replay at a higher difficulty, but like I was on this playthrough, and for those who don't know, after No Way Home came out, I was like, I feel like playing some Spider-Man. And then I was like, hey, Marvel Spider-Man is a video game. I can go play that. And then I got in and realized at some point I had deleted or lost my save file. So I was like, well, I guess we're playing through. Yeah.
I was wondering if you're doing that or New Game Plus, so that answers that question.
Technically, I would be doing New Game Plus. I will say, dude, the climax of the story, like, I know what's coming, and I still cried. Like, God,
that's
dude,
the brilliance of that game. So I think good. Is since it's Doc Ock, how things are gonna go, but you're still like not ready for them to go down that route. They do such a good job with Doc Ock. I love that game so much,
because I basically did from the raft breakout all the way to the end in one sitting. So like that's when it's like it amps up story wise, and it's just, God, dude, like when he's like, wait, you knew like I'm Spider-Man, and I was like, oh no, and I was tearing up a little bit, and I was like, this is really, really intense. Oh my gosh. And then the Aunt May scene comes, and
the Aunt May scene will always get me. That's the worst. I think,
dude, I was doing okay. I was like, yeah, this is an emotionally heavy moment. And I just, every single time, take your mask off. I want to see my nephew. And I was like, oh no, I wasn't ready for this. And I knew it was coming. It's just such a well done game. And I could rave about it. I'm going to play through the DLCs, and then I plan on getting Miles and playing through that. However, the new Horizon Zero Dawn game comes out here.
I was supposed to say, it doesn't come out like the day Uncharted comes out for normies.
Yes. So I may or may not be playing Miles. I don't know. We'll see. It kind of depends on stuff. It's only $70 to pre-order, whatever.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been just
Oof.
going through Uncharted 4 still. I haven't played it in a few days to get caught up, but I'm like, without giving too much away, because I still want you to play it. I'm more or less in the final location of where things will happen, but that's a good chunk of time. So I've got like maybe 40% of the game left, and it's just, dude, it's just such a big leap from 3 to 4, both in terms of storytelling, but also just gameplay is so much better. Because there'll be so many times in the first 3 that'll be like, all right, roll to cover. No, that's not where that's not what I told you.
To cover. Did you not hear me?
Either that or he rolls off a cliff or just rolls directly into a shotgun. I'm just going, you're an idiot. But like the fourth one of the controls are just so fluid, and the story is just so good. And next week, man, finally it's coming. But it's not a news topic that we'll go fully into because there's not much to it. Just a friendly reminder for Josh and those of you listening at home. February 10th. So this week, this Thursday, the Batman tickets go on sale. Some tickets are on sale already for the first. They're doing like an IMAX fan event. One, I tried, but almost all the good seats are taken up in the theater near me. Quote unquote near me. And two, it was $20 per ticket. I'm going, what? I felt bad buying Uncharted tickets for $15 at my big screen near me. But if you guys are wanting to get the Batman tickets, which I'm sure some of you are, I will be getting mine. I don't know if I have to stay up till midnight like I had to do with Spider-Man or whatnot, but I'd imagine the Batman tickets are going to go fast. So just a friendly reminder out there, if you want the Batman tickets, be ready Thursday.
I might end up just seeing that at my little mom and pop theater first, just to see it, and then I'll go like wait. Then I can that way I don't have to worry about spoilers and stuff like that, and I can just go and chill for a week, and then go see it at like IMAX a few weeks later.
Spoilers, like how the Court of Owls will actually be the villains.
You're hoping, man. You're hoping.
Considering there's been like no Court of Owls hints whatsoever in the marketing. But I refuse to let that go.
But see, like they're hiding so much.
Oh, yeah, it's a 3-hour movie. They have to hide some stuff.
Yeah. Hey, are you watching anything this week, or are you just chilling?
I've just been super busy with stuff, so I have not really been watching a whole lot. If anything, I've just played a little bit of Uncharted 4, but even then, I haven't played a whole lot. It's just been super busy with stuff. Have you been watching anything this week?
No. Not at all. A lot of YouTube. I'm halfway through Prisoner of Azkaban, the book, obviously. And I texted you a little bit, but like, I'm hoping, and the book people who've, it's been definitely like a weird experience of like reading the books and knowing where we're going because of the movies, but not sure how much detail I'm missing. But God, too, I hate Snape already. But like, he is insufferable in Prisoner of Azkaban, and like, I get.
Oh, wait till you get to Umbridge in book 5.
Oh, I'm sure I'm gonna hate it even more. But like, there's like a part of me that's like, I get it on one hand, because both Lupin and Black kind of represent that crew that tormented him, blah blah blah. But I'm sure I'll hear about that more later on
in book 5, actually.
In book 5, so then that's fine. But like, even like, he's a terrible person to like Neville and Hermione. Like, I would be okay like if it was only directed at Harry, not really, but like that would make sense. But like the way that he treats Neville, the way that he treats Hermione and Ron, it's just like, dude, I don't feel any sympathy for you, and I don't think I ever will. I don't get the Snape love, and that was one of my hopes in reading the books would be to understand where people are coming from when they're like, no, it's really a redemption story. No, he's obsessed with Lily, and he pretends like that gives him qualms to treat Harry the way it's no, No,
While
I'm
I
over
like
it.
Snape, I kind of side. I agree with you. Of if Snape existed in our real world, he would absolutely wear a fedora and call Lily "milady." Like that's
Yes. Oh my gosh. Total neck beard. Total neck beard. I can't. Okay. Let's get into the news because I just like I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to anybody about it, so I'm just gonna get super heated super fast.
so. The only thing Josh dislikes more than Severus Snape and Harry Potter is the Academy Awards. Not just like this year, but just in general. That's the thing Josh doesn't like. However, I feel like this year, I'm at least more cognizant and aware of a lot of these movies, but not all of them. There's quite a few names that have come out today with the Oscars official nominations list. I'm going, that makes sense. What are you? So we're going to kind of go through the big ones here. We'll talk about some of them, some of the big surprises, some of our guesses, and some of the snubs, because you don't hear this very often, but you hear it a lot from us. Where the heck is Nicolas Cage? Come on, man. Pig genuinely deserves some awards consideration. All right, but I have the list in front of us. So for Best Picture this year, the nominees are, again, remember, the Academy Awards has 10 for Best Picture. Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, which is the one I had never heard of, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. I know a lot of people are just like, that's going to be the Academy Awards every year. As a whole, I'm familiar with 9 out of the 10 of these movies. The only one I have never heard of is Drive My Car. There's a couple of these movies that I'm going to make sure I see. I had wanted to see King Richard, but right as I was about to get around to seeing it on HBO Max, it got pulled. I believe Nightmare Alley is on HBO Max now, so I'll check that out. The Power of the Dog is on Netflix, so I'll check that out. But I've heard really good things about both Coda and West Side Story. If there's one big omission here of like swap it for something else, absolutely take out Don't Look Up. Like, I'm not the biggest. I'm not the biggest Adam McKay fan. Like, The Big Short was okay, but I hated Vice. Like, I don't mind politics in movies, but when that's the whole driving force that you don't really tell a good movie, like Vice, I get it. You don't like Dick Cheney, but is there more to this movie than just that? So take out Don't Look Up and put Tick Tick Boom in. Like, you have Tick Tick Boom nominated for a couple other things, but not Best Picture? Like, come on now.
There's a lot of like, and that's the thing is, and I in a way, I kind of want to be like, well, I get it. You know, there wasn't a lot to choose from, but there really is the more you sit down and look at it. I mean, Licorice Pizza only recently came out, and I've only heard of it through radio ads. And like, I've wanted to go see it only because I love Bradley Cooper and I've loved seeing him in things. Never heard of Power of the Dog. Heard of Nightmare Alley, but have not really.
That's Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, fair. Well, dang, Bradley Cooper in twice. Okay, chill, buddy. But like, I will say this every year. I feel like the Oscars is pointless because you're not really looking at all movies. You're just looking at the quote unquote, like really artsy stuff. Like Dune is really weird that it's on this list because
Dune has a lot of awards consideration. And I think that's because it's Denis Villeneuve, who the Academy already liked ahead of time.
Yeah, but like it's hardcore sci-fi. Like really hardcore sci-fi. And sci-fi is rarely so that kind of sci-fi is rarely on this list. I don't know, dude. I hate awards shows. I just hate them.
So then we have Best Director. So we got Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza. So again, Licorice Pizza making its name. Kenneth Branagh, awesome. For Belfast, once again, I'll still say Kenneth Branagh's first Thor movie is one of the most underrated movies in the MCU. I love the first Thor movie, and you can never convince me otherwise. I really enjoy Kenneth Branagh. I don't know where I can find Belfast, but I wouldn't be surprised if a whole bunch of these find their way either back in theaters or find some way of streaming before the Academy Awards come out, because that's one I'm hearing a lot of talk about. You got Jane Campion, I believe that's how I'm pronouncing it, for The Power of the Dog. Yuseki
I believe in you.
Ryusuke? I'll go with that one. That one sounds better. Hamaguchi for Drive My Car. Again, never heard of Drive My Car leading into this. And Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. Now, I had heard a lot of good things about West Side Story leading into this, but I can't help but think in the back of my mind, a part of this is, oh, Spielberg did a movie this year? Well, guess we gotta nominate him. Because I feel like he got nominated for that one Tom Hanks movie that only Dad saw. Bridge of Spies. Bridge of Spies.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Or,
I was thinking Captain Phillips, but there's that one. Yeah, there's that.
I don't think that was Steven Spielberg.
No, it wasn't.
But
it wasn't.
War Horse, not great, but I think he got nominated for that. So yeah.
No, this is not a good movie.
War Horse, more like if you own this horse, you are dead, basically.
Yeah.
Like War Horse kind of sucked. Then we have Best Actress. You get Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Olivia Colman, again. Olivia Colman's been nominated like 3 of the past 4 years. It's insane. Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter. Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers. Okay. Now, my frontrunner pick for this category, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos. Being the Ricardos also probably should have gotten Best Picture over Don't Look Up. Being the Ricardos is fantastic. It's on Amazon Prime for those that have it. It's very much Aaron Sorkin, but it's really, really good. It basically follows Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball during 1 week of filming a I Love Lucy episode, except it's the most... basically like the worst week of their life. Of Desi Arnaz is accused of cheating on Lucy, and Lucy's accused of being a communist, and these are all things that happen like in real life.
Oh yeah, and she's doesn't she get pregnant or something? I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen some scenes from it, and it's I was like,
and she finds out she's pregnant too.
Yeah. I need to see it. And with that being said, also I also have been itching, and we both know the only reason I haven't watched it is I need to see The Tragedy of Macbeth with Denzel Washington. I've heard fantastic things about it.
Well, there's a lot of people that haven't seen it because not a lot of people have Apple TV Plus.
No, but yeah, like that's...
I want to see Coda. Bad. I might sign up for a trial just to get Coda, but...
Oh, there's so much cool stuff.
And then lastly, for Best Actress, something that just actually really makes my heart happy, Kristen Stewart for Spencer. This just makes me happy because... Kristen Stewart, like Robert Pattinson, has been putting in the work to improve as an actress and being really selective with the projects that she's in and doing, well, minus Charlie's Angels, and doing a really good job in them. And I hope this really gets her out of that Twilight shadow that film fans have not had her in a while, but the general population still will just go, let me do my funny Kristen Stewart impression on a late night TV show and pretend that Kristen Stewart's not a good actress. Like, she is a great actress, and I'm glad that she's getting nominated for something. Now for Best Actor, you got Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos. That one actually surprised me a little bit. I think he's good in it, but not the best we've seen for Javier Bardem. Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog. Not surprised there. And the one that I needed to see happen, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom. Y'all, I don't think Andrew Garfield's going to win for this, but he needs to. He is so good in Tick, Tick, Boom. And the fact that he had no singing experience prior to this movie, but absolutely crushes it, is just amazing. But the problem is, this category is so stacked already that I could genuinely see anyone winning this, except for maybe Javier Bardem. I think he's the long shot here. Because we also have Will Smith for King Richard, which, as soon as King Richard came out, people are going, oh, awards talk for Will Smith for the first time in a very long time. Then, as Josh mentioned, we also have Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. I'm going, it's Denzel. Denzel doesn't know how to half-ass anything. Like,
nope.
The thing is, has anyone seen The Tragedy of Macbeth? Because it's Apple TV Plus. And again, like, who has Apple TV Plus? I want to see these things. I might sign up, like, if they have a week trial, and I'll just binge The Tragedy of Macbeth, Coda, and Ted Lasso, because everyone keeps talking about how great Ted Lasso is.
Oh, dude, I've heard endless things about Ted Lasso. It's really frustrating because I really want to see, like Coda. I want to see Tragedy of Macbeth. But it's, who does it? Can somebody tell me? Does it come free with getting an iPhone? Like,
yes.
Is that a thing?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's
of course
annoying.
It does. So then also, we're not going to cover all the categories, obviously, but Best Costume Design, Cruella. Of course, it has to. Like, it's one of the few good things about Cruella. Like, I didn't hate Cruella, but Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Thank God. Dune's costume design is outstanding. Nightmare Alley and West Side Story. All those make a lot of sense. The Academy loves those period pieces. If I had to guess, Dune or West Side Story, probably for that.
I can see that.
Best sound is kind of odd. Some of them make sense. Others I'm confused about. For best sound, we have Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. Now, this isn't soundtrack or anything. This is sound, like sound editing, sound design. I'm going, Dune? Sure. No Time to Die? Really? That just feels like a handout. Well, here you go. West Side Story? Obviously, it's a musical. That just makes sense. Best original score? If it was up to me, it'd go to Pig, but Pig is not nominated, which is a shame because Pig genuinely has one of the most beautiful soundtracks I've heard in a while. It's very Moneyball-esque, a very minimalist. We have Don't Look Up. Again, why does Don't Look Up keep popping up in things? Dune, Encanto, because you can't escape it. Parallel Mothers and The Power of the Dog. Okay. Go down to Best Film Editing. Again, Don't Look Up. Dune. I like the editing a lot in Dune. King Richard, Power of the Dog. Tick, Tick, Boom. It won't, but Tick, Tick, Boom should win for editing. There's a lot of choices that Lin-Manuel makes as a director in Tick, Tick, Boom that I really, really liked and appreciated editing on the daily basis for my own job that I'm going, ooh, I like how you're visually telling your story here. I don't think Tick, Tick, Boom will win it, but I would like it if it did. Now, there's always a couple, like, the crap is going on here. Like when the first Suicide Squad movie got nominated for hair and makeup for Killer Croc. For best makeup and hairstyling, Coming to America? Seriously? Like the rest of these I can understand. Cruella, sure. Dune, sure. The Eyes of Tammy Faye, actually pretty impressive. House of Gucci, sure, there's a whole bunch of memes about how bad Jared Leto looks, but Coming to America? Okay, now. But lastly, the ones of the categories we'll talk about just because I know it'll make Josh very happy. Best animated feature.
This will be interesting.
Encanto, Flea, Luca, Raya and the Last Dragon, and who I think should win it, but probably won't because it's not a Pixar movie, The Mitchells versus the Machines, which is honestly one of the best animated movies of last year, but it's going up against both Encanto and Raya and the Last Dragon and Luca, and the Academy just loves blindly voting for Disney, as we've seen. So, also, I have a bone to pick with the Mitchells versus the Machines. Whoever the marketing department is sucks. Like, what was the original name of the movie? Do you remember? It wasn't Mitchells versus the Machines.
Oh, jeez, I don't remember. I'll Google it here.
But it was like
because it changed. It changed. It changed.
It was like Plugged In or something like that.
Or Mitchell's verse, but yeah, it's like the marketing sucked for it.
Best cinematography, we have Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. Again, I would love it to go to Dune, but I don't think it will. And your obligatory, let's try and please the mass audiences category. Best visual effects. Dune, Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and Spider-Man No Way Home. That better go to Dune. Like,
dude, yeah.
As much as I think Free Guy has some really impressive visuals, Dune is on a whole other level. Like, there's so many times in that it does not look like CG. It just looks like very impressive effects.
Well, and just like the way that scientifically it looks, it just sounds the shot that stands out to me is when they're bombing the ships, and it, like, you see the bomb go slowly through the shield and then explodes, and the explosion stays within the shield. Oh, dude, it's so cool. Just like visually, and like Spider-Man No Way Home is cool. Shang-Chi versus the Ten Rings, there's a lot of really good visual effects in both of those.
But to be fair, there's also a lot of bad special effects in both of them. Shang-Chi, I love you, buddy, but those dragons in the end.
Yes.
Was that really your best day at the office?
And like No Time to Die. Why is that just because? Is this a James Bond movie? So we're like, it better be on here.
It's the last one. Give it something.
I guess, quote unquote, last one.
No, well, for Craig it is.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. The original name for Mitchell's versus the Machines was Connected.
That's it, which is a terrible name.
Yes, absolutely. It gives away the story too much.
Kind of.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of like really interesting. The more and more we dive into it, and maybe it's because I'm still on that mainstream kind of level of film and cinema. There's a lot of stuff that I have not had the opportunity to see, nor has it been marketed in a place in which I can see it. So having stuff like the tragedy of Macbeth in a place where, unless you got Apple TV, you ain't gonna see it. But then again, I guess you could say the same things about stuff that's on Netflix or stuff that's on HBO Max.
Yeah, Power of the Dog or whatever else.
I mean, but like almost everybody has Netflix these days. Almost everybody. I'm not gonna make a generalization and say that everybody has it, but like it's just, I don't know. It's I've always hated Oscars because it has nothing. I feel like the work that people put into movies doesn't actually like give them awards. It's how much have you pandered to the
that is exactly what it is.
So it is what it is.
So they said not everyone has Apple TV Plus. Well, in a desperate attempt to try and make sure that people had HBO Max, just decided to go and burn every possible bridge that they had. And another one is coming back to bite them in the butt. Yes, bridges can bite now. And that is Village Roadshow. The co-financers and the people that helped create the Matrix Resurrection, the new Matrix reboot, are currently suing Warner Brothers for damages and lost revenue because they are claiming that due to HBO Max's day and date release of Matrix Resurrections both in theaters and on the streaming platform, it made them miss a lot of their potential revenue, which I'm just going, you know what made you miss a lot of your revenue even more? Having this movie come out so freaking late compared to Matrix Reloaded? No, Reload is the sequel. See, the sequels don't matter. Something R.
And something R.
Well, I don't want to say like Matrix Rebooted, which probably actually would have been a better name for this, but I think part of the reason Matrix flopped, and I will call Matrix a flop. That's it. I will say part of the reason Matrix flops, and I will call it a flop, is you waited too long. 2, I don't think there was as much of a demand for it as Warner Bros. Was expecting. 3, you only got one of the Wachowski siblings back, and even then, the Wachowskis were already on shaky ground after movies like Jupiter Ascending and Cloud Atlas. And the last point is you were completely right to sue here, Village Roadshow, because, yeah, streaming absolutely hurt it. I have never been a fan of Jason Clark, who's the guy currently running Warner Brothers, that more or less blindsided everyone and said that they're going to do the day and date with HBO Max release. So I'm hoping with David Zaslav taking over with the Warner Discovery merger that Jason Clark hits the road, because he did so many stupid mistakes and burned so many bridges. They have every right to do this. Now, I was kind of surprised that they didn't do this earlier, but at the same time, it makes sense. I think they wanted to see how much they could actually make it the box office of like, okay, maybe it won't have an impact. Like Black Widow still did okay, but that was clearly hurt too, and we saw legal action being taken there. Whereas other things like, what was something? Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills aired day and date, but still did well at the box office. There could be a lot of factors to that, but I think number one factor that Peacock's release didn't hurt Halloween Kills is a lack of subscribers on Peacock. Like, Peacock is a good service, but it's definitely doesn't have the numbers that it would actually draw away a box office. This is just another embarrassing look for Warner Brothers of like, how do you piss off this many people? Like, it's also funny to me of, this was the last movie to come out on that day and date release schedule for 2021 for Warner Brothers. So they're just like, all right, guys, half of our body's on fire, but we made it past the finish line. And then Matrix just taps him on the shoulder. you forgot one, and it just punches him in the face type of thing of like lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit of how do you not consult with any of your partners whatsoever that you're making this? It would be like if Josh and I decided to monetize the podcast one day and overnight it makes tens of thousands of dollars, but I never told Josh about it. Like, you don't just cut out your partners that are more or less doing most of the work here.
Well, hold on. I know. Let's be clear on one thing. I do not do a fraction of the work.
True.
Unfortunately. But let's flip it. It'd be like if I monetized the podcast and I made a ton of money off of all your work and just didn't say anything.
I would absolutely have legal ground for that.
Absolutely. But like, and I think that the easy argument here, of course, is to be like, well, just make a better movie and it won't flop. That's not our problem.
The Suicide Squad was great and that flopped.
Yes. But so like, because like they only made 37 million in the US and they only made 150 million worldwide. So it's like, that's, especially on a movie whose budget was like 190 million. Like that's not making your money back. I can do math, I promise. But like it's when it came to like movies like Black Widow too, it was okay, no, that was not in the contract in which we signed to make our movie with you. That was not, you can't just flip the script on us and be like, oh yeah, but you're still going to get paid. And I hear everybody being like, yeah, they still got paid millions of dollars. I'm like, yes, but that's not the problem here. The problem is broken contracts. It's hey, wait, no, you can't really do that. It's overworking people in order to make certain deadlines, but then not paying them enough money because, it went to streaming, so it's not our problem. I think, to me, could you imagine if somebody had the balls to do something like this when Treasure Planet came out and they were like, hey man, no, Disney, you intentionally didn't market our movie, so we can sue you for damages. Like, whoa, like I think, to me, this is a new wave, and a wave I appreciate, of creators keeping studios accountable, and that like, hey, yo, just because I'm making a movie for you doesn't mean you get to be like, all right, cool, I'm going to market it however I want. And if I want it to do well, I'll market it well. And if I don't want it to do well, I'll not market it at all. Like John Carter, like Atlantis, like there's this list of movies. And obviously I'm throwing a lot of shade at Disney on this, but I think Warner did it so blatantly here, in that like, yeah, cool, so we're just gonna release all these movies on streaming as well same day. It's like you said, like you're not gonna talk to your partners at all on this. You're not gonna like you're just gonna do it. Oh, okay, cool. I see. I think you and I even talked about yeah, I see no way that this could come back and bite them. No way.
It's the dog meme. This is fine. Like,
this is fine.
It's just funny to me that like movie after movie has basically come back and sued Warner Brothers. Like Legendary had sued after Godzilla vs. Kong, even though that actually over-delivered, I think, at the box office for what the uphill battle that it had of not as good movies leading up to it and having the streaming issue. And I would not be surprised at all if the reason why James Gunn didn't get super mad at HBO Max is he already had a whole bunch of shows in development, which, y'all, I know Peacemaker may not be everyone's cup of tea, but this past week's episode was so good.
Oh, I need to watch. Gosh dang it.
And without saying for anything to Josh, all I'll say, Josh, is this week's episode of Peacemaker, at the end of the episode, that is actually John Cena doing the thing that you see him doing, which I think makes it actually that much more impressive and emotional. But how could you be this dumb? time and time again. There's also other reports of, but I will just say this as speculation. There's no actual official trade saying this at the time that we're talking about this. So if other reports come out later, we can address it then. But supposedly, Matrix Resurrections was supposed to come out in 2022, but they bumped this movie up so that it would fall into the 2021 movie slate so they could put it on HBO Max day and date. I'm just going... Somehow that feels worse. Like,
yeah, that's super sketch.
I don't like how that feels. To which I'm just going, oh, thank God the Batman got delayed, because I need to see the Batman on its screen, and the Batman already has enough of an uphill battle, I think, with fans just going, we want it to be Ben Affleck, or it's Robert Pattinson, and Robert Pattinson isn't a good actor because I don't watch enough movies to know that he's a brilliant talent. Also, Josh, I need to send you the video after this, but you know those, like, I think it's like Wired does them. Wired or Vanity Fair, one of those of like career retrospectives. Robert Pattinson just did one of those. And he's such a fascinating interview. The dude is a little weird, and that's why he's perfect for Batman. But
he's a super weird dude.
But getting back to this, of just like, this potentially could have been a franchise killer. Now, I'm not saying there would have been a Matrix 5 and 6 given the reception of 4, but you never know. If it was solely box office... maybe, but also maybe don't open your movie around one of the highest grossing movies in history in Spider-Man No Way Home. There's a lot of factors as to why Matrix failed, and I'm not trying to make excuses for Warner Bros., but at the same time, Warner Bros. Did this to themselves, and Village Roadshow have every right to sue, and I hope it doesn't just get settled out of court like the Legendary lawsuit did.
Or the Black Widow lawsuit. Like, I think it will at the end of the day. To me, at the end of the day, Warner Brothers will just be like, okay, cool. We're sorry. Here, take all this money. Because in the movie industry, if you have an issue, just throw money at it and it'll fix it, right? But I don't think that their reputation as a movie studio will come out of this unscathed, to be sure.
So, chalk this one up to weird news of the week. It feels like the past few weeks we've had, like, weird news of the week. But this one takes the cake. But I don't hate certain parts of this nearly as much as some other people are. And that is 50 Shades of Grey's Dakota Johnson has been cast as Madam Web in the upcoming Madam Web movie that Sony's been developing for a little bit now. First of all, the positives that I will absolutely leap to defend. Dakota Johnson is a phenomenal actress. I know she kind of has the same issue of Kristen Stewart, of like people only see their early work, of like Kristen Stewart, you're the Twilight girl, or Dakota Johnson will always be either one of two things. Oh, hey, you're Don Johnson's kid, or oh yeah, you're the 50 Shades girl. No. If you've only seen her for that, then you're really missing out. There's a criminally underrated movie that she's in called The Peanut Butter Falcon. She is so good in that. It's such a heartwarming movie. But then she also did... Oh!
Uh-oh. I see some lights going off.
Yes.
What you got? Hit me with your tinfoil.
No, like this is stronger than tinfoil hat theory here.
Oh,
she was also in a movie called Bad Times at the El Royale with John Hamm, directed by Cabin in the Woods' Drew Goddard. Drew Goddard, a few years back, was attached to direct the Sinister Six spin-off movie.
Oh my gosh. You don't think that they're slowly building a Sinister Six, are you?
I don't think they're doing a Sinister Six movie solo anymore. I think the plan, like how this Spider-Man trilogy ended with, spoiler alert, it's more or less an origin for the true Spider-Man. I think this new trilogy will end with the Sinister Six with Venom thrown in the middle. I wouldn't be surprised if we're getting Drew Goddard back into the Sony fold, just reworked into some other projects. Now, I don't think he's doing this. I think we already have a director attached to the Madam Web project, which might be separate than the Olivia Wilde directed movie. I think that's a Spider-Woman movie. But I think it's a little too coincidental that we have some form of like 6 degrees of Sony connection here with Drew Goddard and Dakota Johnson having worked together in the past, which also, if y'all haven't seen it, Bad Times at the El Royale is another one that's really underrated. That's got a fantastic cast of John Hamm, Dakota Johnson, Jeff Bridges, Chris Hemsworth. It keeps you on your toes. She's a phenomenal actress. That being said, isn't Dakota Johnson like 70 years too young for this role? Because Madam Web is old. But also, we've kind of been against the idea of a Madam Web movie for a while, primarily because Madam Web is notorious. Like, her known features are she's immobile and she's not typically an active participant in stories. She's a lot like the Watcher in Marvel's What If. She's very much a passive character she's always a very critical character, just like the Watcher, but she's very rarely a active character. She's at the center of the web of the Spider-Verse, essentially. Like, she's almost like an oracle type of, she can see the vast multiverses, but very rarely interferes with it. So I'm going, what is the narrative here? Please don't tell me it's just going to be a generic story that ends with her in some massive accident that's going to put her up in the web life support for the rest of her life. Because the web that she's on is basically a massive life support system. I'm worried that it's just going to be a generic action movie that ends with her being in something that creates the life support system that she's going to be on. Also, I didn't notice this until today. Dakota Johnson might want to be a little more acclimated either to spoilers or which company she works for, because when she had officially announced it on her social media, she shared the article and then tagged both Sony and Marvel. I'm going, so one of two things. Either she said something she shouldn't have, or two, just got confused and assumed that they're a working relationship, because to my knowledge, this is her first superhero role. So like, maybe she doesn't know, hey, Marvel's not fully involved. Or are they? If we're getting Doctor Strange with different multiverses, maybe Dakota Johnson is Sony's answer to that in terms of this character that can see the multiverse. I do not want Madam Web to be a Doctor Strange type.
No.
But I do worry that Sony will look at her that way.
Yeah, totally, because it's Sony. Like, I'm very worried that they'll end up doing what you said, where she's just like the secret agent or something, or a scientist or something, and ends up in a bad accident at the end, and that's how she ends up seeing the multiverse and is in a life support system. I think like what you and I said, well, I don't hate the casting. I love Dakota. I think she can act her butt off, and by all means, bring it on. But at the same time, it's like, I'm a little confused of what we're doing here. I almost feel like, and maybe they're playing it close to the chest for a reason, but Disney and Marvel have to make it public, at least for the fan story continuity, to kind of understand the relationship. Because right now, it feels like anybody can show up anywhere. And while that's a great idea in concept, like, it's also a little, it's pretty confusing, because at the same time, like, Morbius and Venom still have to have their own storyline, not attached to the main MCU. So it's like, you have to be very clear, and that's why it was so confusing when she said, Sony and Marvel, because we need that distinction. That distinction is very, very important. Because if not, I'm just confused on what we're doing here. Because
yeah,
Morbius can't be in the Venomverse and in the MCU at the same time. Like, that doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that's the other issue. Is like, Sony's either we don't know or Sony doesn't know, because it feels like the past few movies, whether it be Spider-Man, Venom, Morbius, or even Doctor Strange, it feels like maybe they know, but they can't tell us. But either that or it's just purposely confusing. Like, we kept saying, all right, well, we'll get more answers for Morbius once Spider-Man No Way Home comes out. No, I'm still confused how Morbius slots in anywhere. Or they tease, well, Venom 2 leads into Spider-Man No Way Home. No, it didn't. It was like a blatant bait and switch. So it could also be like Doctor Strange introducing multiverse, and that could be a spoiler there. It's just felt like for the past few Marvel and Sony collaborations, it's very much just been like a Schrodinger Spider-Man, so to speak, of this universe both does and does not exist in the way that you do know it already. And I'm very confused right now. Josh and I are both in agreement that Andrew Garfield's probably the Spider-Man of the Tom Holland Venom verse, and will probably be in Morbius. But then
Tom Hardy, yeah.
Huh?
You said Tom Holland.
Yes, he will be Tom Hardy's Jared Leto's Morbius. But then again, if that happens, that brings up the question of, well, we saw Michael Keaton's Vulture. Please don't tell me you just filmed him for the trailers and he's not actually in the movie and it's confusing people. It just feels like maybe they have a big picture. But then again, Sony's been known to get ahead of themselves a lot. Sinister Six movie, and Aunt May movie that was originally penned at one point. Yes, look it up. That was actually a thing that was scheduled to happen at one point. I do worry that, like, MCU Spider-Man will stick around for a while, despite what Tom Holland's wishy-washy statements are depending on the week. He'll stay in the MCU, but I worry Sony will go back to the just make it up as it goes along. We'll connect it somehow. But I love the casting. I really do. I just question how this is going to fit in. And that can be said of any character right now. Kraven is supposed to film soon, and I still don't understand where that slots in either. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I'm still like all gunning for Andrew Garfield being the Spider-Man of the Venomverse, and I'm okay with Michael Keaton being Vulture in that universe. We just need that to be clear. This was my worry whenever they opened the Pandora's box of the multiverse. It's all fun and games until nothing makes sense. And I just worry, as excited as I am for Dakota Johnson, I'm worried that we're getting in that territory, both from Marvel and Sony.
Now, lastly for news this week, it's like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers. Just when you think it's dead, it comes back and does an Undertaker sit-up just to haunt us one more time. And of course, this time I'm talking about MoviePass. However, there might be a catch to it this time around. So for those that don't know, MoviePass was the definition of, if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. It was essentially a movie credit card that basically lets you watch as many movies in theaters as you wanted. And then, of course, that failed because it was too good to be true of a concept. It was $10 a month. You could see all the movies that you wanted. So basically, for the price of a movie ticket, see all the movies. But that was because the original owner of MoviePass, let me look it up, Stacy Spikes, sold it to a company called Helio and Matheson. And Helio and Matheson is the one that just completely torpedoed it and also pissed off every theater out there, because MoviePass was trying to do this thing where basically wring out money from the theaters and be like, hey, if you want people to use MoviePass at your theater, you need to give us a cut of your concessions money. And we're going, that's the only revenue that theaters get. And also, theaters just had a good response of going, how about screw you and we just do our own subscription service. So now you get AMC A-List, Regal, Crown Club, whatever the stupid
Cinemark has one, yeah.
Cinemarks will factor into what I have to say about this later, because I hate Cinemarks. Because Cinemarks is essentially pay $10 a month and you get a ticket a month. And I'm going, so a ticket then? Like, Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, MoviePass was not a new concept. There's other subscriptions kind of like it, but I think the popularity of MoviePass caused theaters to reevaluate and go, we need our own. Well, now Stacy Spikes has reacquired MoviePass and is set to announce something this coming Thursday regarding the future of MoviePass, which has led to talks that back in November when it was reacquired, and now even more so that this coming Thursday that they might be announcing some form of a rebranding of MoviePass. I don't think it's as nearly bad of an idea as you might think, and here's why. The big studio, the big companies, AMC, Regal, those have their own cards. What if MoviePass this time around is working to work with the mom and pop stores? Like, I know there's a brand called Lowe's, which is like the fourth or fifth chain out there. Like it's known, like a Lowe's or just like a family run theater that doesn't have the capital to put forth to have their own version of a subscription service. I think that would be a smarter idea to do a partnership, a smart legal partnership, and work it that way. Like, you're not going to be able to penetrate the market when it comes to the big names like an AMC or a Regal. I'm purposely leaving out Cinemark because I've had issues with Cinemark's movie thing for a while. My favorite theater in town to go to is the one at Universal Studios City Walk. It's a beautiful Cinemark. I took Josh there when he was here when we saw Halloween Kills. It's a great theater. Yeah. I go there all the time, but I never have gotten their pass because, as I said, it's $10 a month for a movie a month. That's not a deal. That's just a ticket. But if the say MoviePass teamed up with Cinemark to kind of rework it a little bit, be like, hey, it's 3 movies a week or 3 movies, even if it was 3 movies a month for $10, I immediately sign up for that. I think MoviePass has a market there for the smaller theaters. Don't go after the big guys because there's no way you can make that work, because I've heard nothing but good things about Rio Crown Club or AMC A-List. Like, that's a smart plan, and if I live closer to an AMC or a Regal, I would take advantage of those. Josh, do you see a future for MoviePass at all, or do you just want to see the car crash again?
I think it'd be really interesting because I have been looking into AMC A-List for a bit. I haven't pulled the trigger on it, but just like that idea of being able to pay a certain, it's a subscription fee to a theater.
I'm gonna assume you never had MoviePass.
I never had MoviePass. Right when I was about to pull the trigger to get it, that's when it it went under. So didn't get to. But I like that idea, and some of the articles I've been reading have been brought in some really good points of like you said, getting the smaller theaters in. Like, I didn't know this, but MoviePass was accepted at like Alamo Drafthouse. That's awesome.
That's a smart partnership there. That's a good branch.
Oh, absolutely. Like and they get all kinds of data through, like, when you use that card at all these different chains. Like the article I read, they was talking about how they found out that people preferred AMC on the weekends, but on a Wednesday they almost exclusively went to Alamo Drafthouse. Why? Because there was a half beer and they could take a chance on a movie. And there's a lot of quotes that I'm reading from Spikes of like, because people paid up front, they would be more likely to take risks on titles that they normally wouldn't take risks on because they've paid up front. They don't have to worry about, quote unquote, losing money on a movie. So you get your more artsy films. Are people like, you know what? The trailer seemed interesting enough, and I've got three tickets this month. And the other 2 are going to go to these other 2 movies that I'm looking forward to. I see no issue with taking a chance on a Green Knight or a Licorice Pizza or something like that. So I just feel like you and I we talked last week about creativity being quote unquote dead, which is not the truth at all. But I think movies have to adapt movie theaters have to adapt to bring more people in, and you have to give people the best opportunity to see these movies that are not mainstream in order for those movies to succeed at all.
Yeah, I had MoviePass when it was in that too good to be true phase, and basically there was no restrictions to it. Like, I was on the fence about getting it for a while because I was like, there's no way $10 just to see every movie. And I dropped it basically as soon as they started getting weird of like endless emails or limiting the movies, because I remember specifically when it started to go downhill, and it was around the time that the Jennifer Lawrence movie Red Sparrow came out, which was also the same weekend, I believe, that Mission Impossible 6 came out. And they're just like, you can see Mission Impossible in the special showing of the very first Mission Impossible. You can't see the new one. That's not a thing we can do for you. Like, they started showing only like select movies. You can only see them like in the middle of the day. But in its peak, I did go to the theater more often because it felt like I didn't have to take the chance of, well, if I don't like it, I'm out a certain amount of money. Like, I will always prefer going to the theater to see a movie, but sometimes I don't want to take that risk. Like, I saw Mortal Kombat at home on HBO Max. Probably not the best example because we talked about how much that was a bad idea. It was for marketing purposes, but with MoviePass and those subscription type services, people will go out to the theater more often in an industry that right now desperately needs people to go back to the theater. Like, we're starting to slowly recover with Spider-Man and now with Scream and hopefully with Uncharted doing, I'd imagine Uncharted will probably give about 30 to 35 million opening weekend. Like, decent, but nothing too big, and that's fine with me. But like, in this day and age, with theaters really needing some help, maybe they lean on MoviePass, which would be a really weird story to go with, of like the person that tried to screw you over when it was under different leadership. I'll give it that, but it's a weird story of the person that tried to screw us over might now be one of the people that can actually help us get people back into theater, which just is an odd thing to think about. I want it to be a documentary.
Yeah. What's going to be funny is this time next year when we're like, man, it's been so great to have MoviePass. I've seen so many movies, and having a merch store in every theater has just been so great.
I refuse to let that die. That's one of my greatest ideas that I don't understand why it's not implemented.
It legitimately needs to be a thing. Like, I'm just imagining a Universal Studios level merch store at every theater that has current merch for the movies that are in right that, like, and even like studio merch would be super cool. Like, I'm sorry, this is such a tangent, but like there's those A24 like quarter zip fleece jackets. I have been wanting one for so long, but like I don't want to buy one. But like if it was in front of me at a store,
darn you, shipping.
Yeah, bro, I can feel it. I can put it on. Like, come on. Like, that's just that would be really, really cool. I agree though. We'll have to see what happens with this going forward. But I agree that this might be the opportunity to get more people into the theater.
And as always, this week's episode is sponsored by TeePublic, where you can get awesome shirts like this. You can get all your Uncharted Media desires. You can get shirts, hoodies, jackets, whatever you're feeling. Stickers. We have 5 great designs to choose from. You can go with the classic symbol. You can go with us in cartoon form. Lots of great designs for you out there. So if you want to support the show, wear some Uncharted Media merch, go check the link in the description for this episode, or just go to TeePublic and search Uncharted Media. I know the search function is a little weird at times, but just follow the link if you're looking for good merch. Now, we love comedies. We love to laugh. Mainly, we can just make ourselves laugh around here, but we're going to talk about our favorite individual moments from comedies. Not comedies as a whole, but specifically like jokes or scenes, or in some cases ad-lib moments that were not supposed to be in the movie. I have one moment that I haven't even seen the movie, but this clip always makes me laugh. I think I should start us off with what got me thinking about this to begin with, and it's not one that you would think of off the top of your head. I don't know how this scene got in my head, but normally when you think Star Wars, you don't think funny, but one part in particular, even people that hate the prequels and despise the prequels, we all can come together and enjoy. You want to buy some death sticks? You want to sell me death sticks? I don't want to sell you death sticks. You want to go home and rethink your life? I want to go home and rethink my life. Like, that is comedy perfection. The timing is so good. The actor playing the death stick dealer is so good. Ewan McGregor's timing on that, the tone. Like, we're so used to, these aren't the droids you're looking for. We're so used to the Jedi mind trick, but to be used for comedic purposes? I kind of am mad that Star Wars has never brought that. Well, they kind of did in the sequel trilogy of, you'll leave your weapon at the door. Or like, you're having a good day. We're glad you're here. Like, type of thing. But they still did it the best. In arguably what I'll say is one of the worst Star Wars movies, in Attack of the Clones, has a scene that still to this day makes me laugh and will always make me laugh really, really hard. I still remember seeing it in the theaters, and it felt like there was one of the oh, everyone has a little bit of life. Like, even the people that hate this movie are like, death sticks.
I just love how, like, in Star Wars, a world where they have guns that legitimately shoot fire bolts, they're like, hey, we got cigarettes, but we don't want to call them cigarettes anymore. What should we call them? Well, they kill you slowly. What do you want to call them? Death sticks? Yeah, death sticks sounds great. That's like a great idea.
Death sticks sound like a sour kids candy. Like, they sound like if Warheads met Pixie Sticks. That's what death sticks sounds like. And now I want them to be a thing.
Dude, there's a lot of potential in sci-fi to do those sorts of things of like, oh, I see what you did there. That was great. Oh, yeah. I love scenes like that because there's the king of improv. Have you ever seen Caddyshack?
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling it way back. Geez, I always forget his name, but the old dude in Caddyshack, that's like the rich guy that has all the crazy stuff. And my favorite bit in Caddyshack, among the many that are in that movie, is when they get to the dance scene and he looks at the owner's wife and he's like, "Hey, baby, you wanna make $5 the hard way?" Like, it's God, dude. That scene in general, just seeing this guy like walk through a crowd and just improv lines with people is just, God, it's so much fun. It's kind of, it harkens like. I know it harkens back, but it's kind of in the same kind of vein and timeline. But it's like the Chris Farley movies are just, improv comedy. It's missing. It's missing.
Okay. Also, I'll talk about my moment that's improv, but we need to put up the caveat that we didn't address at the beginning of the episode of there will only be one moment per movie. So we're not just going to spew a whole bunch of literally everything from Men in Tights or What We Do in the Shadows.
Hard.
I know.
It's so hard.
Only one moment per movie. And Josh, to talk about improv, this is one of the greatest improv lines, so much so that one of the actors actually cracked and just broke. And it's a movie that I still haven't even seen. One of the Fast and the Furious movies. Fast 7.
I know exactly. Yeah, I know
Josh
exactly
knows
what you're talking about.
Because even people that haven't seen this movie know the scene and why you don't mess with a professional wrestler when it comes to making fun of someone on the mic. Like, The Rock is used to verbal sparring. Tyrese Gibson is not. So they're having this big party in Fast 7, and Tyrese Gibson sees The Rock walking up. All right, everybody hide your baby oil. And The Rock, without missing a beat, you better hide that big-ass forehead. And the best thing about it is you can tell it's improv because Ludacris, standing next to Tyrese Gibson, does a hard spit take of his soda. Like, he's just like, Ludacris is not that good of an actor to pull off a fake spit take. So I'm like, that was clearly. And also Tyrese, his soul looks like it's been shattered into a thousand
like leaves his body. Oh, dude. I mean, it's really fun watching that scene in retrospect, knowing that like Tyrese and Vin Diesel have an issue with The Rock. Oh, bro. It's okay.
The Bald Brothers.
The Bald Brothers. All of them are bald, yeah.
Are they hiring for you?
It's a choice. Yeah. Oh, man.
No,
all right,
Josh just shaved his head so he looked less like Colt Cabana.
Yeah, correct. That's the
Or
I shaved my
MJF.
head and grew my beard so that way I can never ever again look like Colt Cabana, CM Punk,
Or MJF.
or MGF because I don't need that in
Someday
my
I
life.
should share the MJF picture I sent
You
you.
could just not do that. That would be fantastic, or really like a side by side of me and Colt Cabana. That would be. Let's not do that.
Especially when Josh's face gets really animated.
Oh my God, we have the same face. It's not fair. Oh,
He had it first, Josh.
no. Well, yeah, I guess.
Do you
There's
have
a guy
any-
in the
Do you have any?
Texas scene that looks exactly like me. That's really weird. I'd never know his name because I don't want to actively look at him because it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Do you have any other improvised moments, Josh?
Not that I don't have any moments that I know that they're improvised. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Because like I do have the a scene from Hot Fuzz where he like turns and looks at all the fences and runs towards them. You're like, oh, he's gonna hop over and just barrels head first right through it.
It's a good subversion of Edgar Wright tropes because he always
is.
jumps over the fence in his movies.
Yes, correct. So but like, or like some of the scenes from Airplane, they're just almost too witty. Like there's no way somebody sat down and wrote all these jokes out. Like some of them maybe, but like the one that gets me in Airplane all the time is the Shirley, running joke with Shirley. It's like, surely there's something we can do. No, there's not. Don't call me Shirley. Like, or like the drink. I can no, only one per movie. Only one.
I'll give you another one.
Okay.
I'll say the one. There's actually one from Airplane that still makes me laugh. Also because it actually gets quoted in my office a lot at my work because one of my bosses is also a big dad joke person, and so like one of his go-to lines on anybody is just like, "What do you make of it?" Well, I can make it a hat. I can make it a brooch. I can make it a boat.
Okay, like I might actually go watch it after this because like I have had a bad couple of days. And
it's in the Voodoo in 4K.
Bro, there's so much stuff in that movie that would not fly today, but like, golly, it's so funny. I could gush.
You like movies about gladiators? You tell your dad if he had to haul Bill Russell's butt up the court for 48 minutes, he'd be tired too.
What? No. And that's what I do. I started to have a drinking problem, and then just pours the cup all over himself. It's so good. He's like, they're in the. Okay, I'm sorry. I know we're gonna gush about these movies. Unfortunately, we're trying.
Airplane is like the dad joke masterpiece.
They're in the Amazonian rainforest selling tribes Tupperware like that. I can't handle that. Oh man.
Okay, just for Josh, my next one will be from one of Josh's favorite movies of all time.
Absolutely.
Starring Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe.
Yes. Let's go.
And I don't think if Josh does have the nice guys that he's going to talk about today, I don't think he and I are going to have the same moment because
there's so many good ones.
I love good physical comedy, but also editing. And editing is hard to do in movies to make funny, but I have a couple good edits. And The Nice Guys has one that's good editing. It's just funny, but also it's trope subversion, basically, of like you expect something to happen and it absolutely does not because it's the real world and that does not happen. So the scene in question is Ryan Gosling is trying to break into a house. And so he like tries to wrap his hand, like wraps his hand around a handkerchief. So he's going to punch out the glass and unlock the door. He wraps his hand in a handkerchief, punches the door, and his hand is immediately bleeding and he cut an artery because he's just punched glass. And smash cut to him in the back seat of an ambulance that treats him for blood loss because he tried to do a simple break-in and cut his hand open.
If you guys haven't, and obviously it's a little bit more on the raunchy, like more intense side of comedy with The Nice Guys, but golly, that movie's so funny. It is not the moment I want to talk about, but like when the first time that Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling meet, in the movie when Russell Crowe has to go intimidate him, and he's like, when you get to the doctor, just tell him it's a torn rotator, blah blah blah. And he's like, what? No, 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 boom! And he like, this man, Ryan Gosling, who is like one of the most manly dudes like in movies that we've ever seen, squeals like a little girl, and it is the funniest thing. But I think my favorite scene that I still laugh at from that film is when they're getting rid of the body. I accidentally dump it into a wedding reception, and it like makes stuff go everywhere. And they're like, and they just run. Like, oh, dude, it's so great. Oh man, if you haven't seen the Nice Guys, that's a good time.
I also, for some reason, I was trying to think of any good scene from Tucker and Dale versus Evil, because anytime we can talk about comedies, we need to talk about it. But I can't think of one particular moment that stands out, because the whole movie is just the definition of horror comedy perfection. Like, Tucker and Dale is just fantastic. Maybe it'll be like, if you like her, go over there and talk to her. He has a little scythe. So, y'all going camping? Like, that will always get me. He's just standing there eating pickled eggs, which apparently made the actor sick.
I think one of my favorite is
we have your friend. They scroll. We have your friend in the log.
Like, bro, what are you doing? Or like, I don't know, officer. He just ran and jumped into the wood chipper. It was crazy.
We have had one doozy of a day.
Oh man, that's a great movie. Great like trope subversion and everything. I
thought Josh's favorite part was when the kid jumps in the wood chipper.
It's funny because like I have always like seen wood chippers and been like, those are hugely dangerous. There's no way there's nothing that goes wrong. Like, come on.
What do you got next?
I gotta bring up the opening scene. I don't know, have you ever seen Super Troopers?
Yes.
Dude, okay.
Where they haze the college kids.
Yes, I quote that scene all the time. Like, these schnozberries taste like schnozberries, which, yes, I understand is from Willy Wonka. But like, also, when he's like, he throws them all, they shoot the gun a couple times, and he jumps in, goes, "You boys like Mexico?" And they peel off. And it's easily like, that moment is very tied with the meow scene where they tried to get him to say meow 10 times in a traffic stop.
What's your favorite moment? Say it right. Meow.
Meow. Oh, like that is one of the movies. Super Troopers is one of those movies that I definitely don't recommend for everybody. But it is easily one of those movies that lives in my head rent free. Of like, hey, Farva, nobody say shenanigans. I will pistol whip the next person that says shenanigans. Hey, Farva, what's that restaurant you like with all the weird stuff on the walls?
Shenanigans.
Oh, shenanigans. Bam! What did I do?
There will be a day that Farva just breaks and goes full Metal Jacket on everyone. Oh gosh!
Apparently, the guys that did that have a show right now where they're all like firefighters, and I've seen scenes, and it's very, very funny. It's very Super Troopers.
So Josh brought up Super Troopers with cops. I'll talk about one with undercover agents, and it was one of the first times that I can remember that I cried from laughing so hard, and I realized that Channing Tatum is a talented actor. And that is 22 Jump Street.
Oh, dude.
The captain's daughter scene. If people have seen 22 Jump Street, you know what we're talking about. That a couple scenes earlier, Jonah Hill's just like, you know what? I hooked up with somebody on campus. And the chief's just like, heck yeah, man. You're kind of awkward, but good for you. We find out very quickly that girl is the chief's daughter. And Channing Tatum does not know this. And so Jonah Hill is strapping in a bulletproof vest in HQ with Ice Cube with a gun in his hand on the desk, just staring down Jonah Hill. And Channing Tatum's just like, what the F is going on? I'm not going to pretend like there's not some big effing elephant in the room. What is happening? Ice Cube flips around a picture of his daughter, and it takes Channing Tatum a full 5 to 10 seconds looking back, looking at the picture, looking back, and no joke, an oven timer sound goes off. Oh, man! You hooked up with Captain's daughter. He starts running around the office the whole time. Ice Cube is making dead eye contact with Jonah Hill.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. He doesn't know. He doesn't know, sir. Please stop. No,
Schmidt hooked up with Captain's daughter. Oh, you are so dead. You're so dead. And he sits back down. It's really not that funny.
And that's tough too, because that is definitely my favorite moment of the two. But like the first 21 Jump Street is so funny as well. Like there's so much good comedy in that. But gosh, even if you were just like to not even that moment, but the moment where they have to sit, where Jonah Hill and Ice Cube have to sit across the table from each other, and he's like, Doug. Doug. How's your classes, Doug? Like, I was like, hey, have y'all heard about that weather? That weather's great. Like, dude, I don't get why Jonah Hill gets so much crap. That man is absolutely hilarious. I love him so much.
Hey, God, it's me, Jonah Hill from Moneyball.
Oh man, it's so good. And like seeing Jonah Hill look like Slim Shady is also just peak. It's so funny.
It's not on my list today, but honorable mention for 21 Jump Street when they accidentally take the drugs.
Dude, yeah. I'm not even accidentally. They'd
have to take the drugs to not be found out. And Jonah Hill is on the track. It just yeets the baton, and then Channing Tatum has the cymbals, and he's just like interpretive dance.
It's so great.
And then run into Rob Riggle, and she's like, "What are you doing with your tongue, man? Put your tongue back in your mouth." Like moves it with his actual
and then Channing Tatum's tongue is going out, and he's like, "I like that. I like what you're doing. That's nice."
And then I see Rob Riggle, and Rob Riggle's head is an ice cream cone.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Let's keep it going with the old school train here. Do you have anything from Zoolander on your list?
I thought about it because I like Zoolander, but I can't think of one moment that I put above everything else.
You know what? You just seem like you've had a bad day. You know what would cheer you up? It's an orange mocha frappuccino. I absolutely, the gas fight is easily one of the
gas fight's probably my favorite.
Funniest. I mean, right up there with Hansel somehow pulling his underwear out of his pants while he's wearing it.
He's so hot right now.
Oh, he's so hot right now. And he comes up in a razor scooter. I still can't get over that. That cracks me up so much. Or like, this is way too small. It has to be at least 5 times this big.
What is this? A school for ants?
School for ants. Oh, dude.
Okay,
good stuff.
So the gasoline fight always kind of reminds me of, in terms of just like, they can't be this dumb, can they? Oh, they are that dumb. It kind of reminds me of the other guys. Aim for the bushes.
Yes,
aim for the bushes.
I have that.
Jump off the ledge, and the whole time you're like, where are the bushes? Where are the bushes? Oh, that's the ground. They're dead.
Really, where are the bushes?
And then they smash cut to Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell standing next to each other. There wasn't even an awning. Like, what were they doing? Like,
oh man, there's a couple scenes I could think of with the other guys, but aim for the bushes. It's just like, and partly because it isn't in like the fourth of the film. Well, that was hard to say. It's just so stinking funny. I can't, like, and the fact that it's Samuel Jackson and The Rock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
you're like, they're not gonna kill off those guys.
No. They paid a lot of money for them. There's no way. Okay.
I just added one to my list just because I forgot about it, and it's really, really stupid. But sometimes I like stupid and will always laugh at a good fart joke. And for me, one that always makes me crack up, because apparently I'm 12, is Nacho Libre. When he's told to climb the cliffside to drink from the eagle's egg, he drinks from the eagle's egg, and it's just like pouring down his face. He's just like, I can fly with the eagles. He spreads his arms out as he's like jumping up a cliff. It shouldn't be funny to me, But that will always make me die laughing because it's a well-placed fart joke. Like,
Oh, Jack
I love
Black,
Nacho Libre.
man.
I really shouldn't, considering I hate Napoleon Dynamite. But I don't know why Nacho Libre just works for me. And his constant
dude.
flatulence is so funny. Or when he's in the mariachi band, I am singing, Ramses is the best.
I love when he crushes the tortilla chips over the salad and then blows them in her face.
I will still say to this day, whenever like there's a gathering or whatever with a whole bunch of chips and dip, I'm like, did you tell them they were the Lord's chips? And no one ever knows what that's from. It makes me sad.
I think as quotable as Napoleon Dynamite is, there's only one scene that still gets me if I ever rewatch it.
The dance?
No.
Tina, you fat lord, come get your dinner.
No. It's when that farmer's trying to shoot his cow and a bus of kids draws in front of it. He's like, darn thing won't shoot. Oh, well, cocks it, looks at that, aims it again. A school bus full of children pulls in front, and you just hear bang, and all the kids scream. Oh, dude, that gets me every time. Are you kidding me? I don't know why, but child trauma is like my niche. Like, I gotta scar a child emotionally in a comedic way, and I am there.
I have
Absolutely.
one child movie, one kids movie. The rest are not kids movies, but I don't love the movie as a whole, but there's one good joke that they showed in all the trailers that I'm just going, stand up, applaud yourself, because you will never write a joke better than that, especially in the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs franchise with... There's a leak in the boat. They pan over. There's an actual leak, the vegetable, sitting shotgun in the car, and I'm going...
But okay, look, dude. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 is literally peak dad humor the entire movie. Frogs that are actual pads of butter that instead of ribbit say butter. Like that's. But see, I will see your leak in the boat moment and raise you when Terry Crews, because I don't know his character, but when Terry Crews starts to cry in the beginning and goes, no. Get back in there, tear.
Get that tear back in there.
Coupled with, at the end, when he does cry, and his tear falls on the blueberry, and the blueberry grows chest hair. Oh, that movie is, again, I agree, it's not like by far like my favorite movie of all time or anything like that, but it is just a solidly stupid good time. And that, bro, what more do you want?
I have one that is from not a comedy. The rest of the movies I will talk about tonight are from specifically comedies. This one, I don't know if I would consider it specifically a comedy, even though it has some very good comedic elements. It's like all Wes Anderson stuff has a hint of comedy, but it's never out and out a comedy. Mm-hmm. And to me, I think Wes Anderson's best movie still to this day is The Grand Budapest Hotel. And again, editing and blocking can be funny. So when Edward Norton, the head police officer, comes up to Ray Fiennes, the owner of the Grand Budapest Hotel, interrogating him about something, and Ray Fiennes goes, "A woman is dead in my lobby, and you think I killed her?" And then immediately runs away from the camera while everyone just kind of stares awkwardly before chasing after like 5 seconds. But the fact that it's still all on camera, he just shotguns it away from the camera is so funny. The timing, the geography is so funny. The fact that everyone just kind of stands there and goes, where's he going? Like, it's so good. Like, Ray Fiennes' comedic abilities, I think, get underappreciated. That scene is like really what most people remember for Grand Budapest, and rightly so. I will still die laughing every single time.
I appreciate, I mean, I'm a big Wes Anderson fan. I personally, Budapest Hotel is not my favorite, but I understand why people like it. Absolutely. The only movie I saw is oddly in the same section as you, where I have one non quote unquote comedy. It's more of an adventure movie. It involves our boy Nicolas Cage.
Not the bees.
No, National Treasure 2, when he was pretending to be drunk.
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going with it.
Oh, where'd you think I was going?
I thought you were talking about when they find the entrance in the back of the Mount Rushmore, and so he goes in. I'm just kidding, and they're all like,
yeah,
he like
dude,
pulls
there's so
the booby
much.
trap, and nothing happens, and they all freak out.
It's so good.
But yes, fake drunk Nicolas Cage in Buckingham Palace.
I can't even quote it because it's so like specific, but
Wrong
like
about us, wrong about me.
Yep.
Pip, pip, cheerio, God save the Queen.
Oh, dude, so good, so good. I just like Nicolas Cage is one of the funniest people on the planet, and even when he's intending to be funny,
they realized that the first National Treasure didn't have a good solid Nicolas Cage freak out, so they needed to put him in the second one. There's some other movie though that he's wearing like the exact same outfit, except it's not a family movie. And so like whenever I see clips from that, I'm always thinking it's from Book of Secrets. I'm going, oh no, that's definitely not from that movie. Like it's one where he's like a drug dealer or like a cartel guy. He's somehow connected to the cartel. I'm like, that's not National Treasure, but I kind of wish it was. So,
treasure hunting isn't paying the bills. Trying to work for the cartel.
Riley,
Looking for Aztec gold.
Riley, we found a different treasure.
We're investing in the meth trade.
Gold or drugs? Either way, we're going to Colombia.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, I got 6 more. How many more you got?
I got 7.
Perfect. We're doing. We got this down.
We are reading each other's mind over there, baby. I don't know. Dude. I lived in Tennessee and worked with Hicks for too long, man. It just happens. Like all of a sudden, I was like, "Yeah, man, let me tell you something. I was out the other day." Like, oh, jeez, chill out, Boomhire. Oh. It's bad. Like I didn't think those people actually existed, but they do.
Speaking of redneck.
Oh, here we go.
One of my favorite annual traditions to watch with my family is Christmas Vacation. And you can't get more redneck than Cousin Eddie. But this time, it's not about Cousin Eddie. It's about, I forget what the little daughter's name is.
Yeah.
The one that kind of looks like the feral child from Mad Max. That they're like, oh, her eyes aren't crossed anymore. And I kid you not, it's one of my favorite lines in movie history. Yeah, she falls down a well, her eyes go cross, she gets butt kicked by a mule, they go back to normal. I don't know. Like, that's just the right level of effed up that I'm just going, that ain't right. It's either that or I would join you, Clark, but I got this metal plate in my head that every time the Catherine turned on the microwave, I'd whiz myself and forget who I was. Plus, if I comb my hair, it just don't look right.
Oh, man. Oh, dude. See, I don't watch that movie very often. So, like, oh, dude, it brings back memories. It's really funny. Like, there's a couple movies that we'll talk about here in a bit. Like, it was really hard to pick one scene that I absolutely love because I just quote some of these movies. We're getting to the movies like I quote all the time. Let's talk about. The last movie on my list that I don't like, but I love this moment. I find it super funny. Have you ever seen Ted?
Yes.
Okay. Was not that big of a fan. It's fine. However, the moment that forever gets me, and I see clips of it every now and then, and I can't not love it, is when they're in the courtroom and Ted is doing his little speech about how the court is doing the same thing to him that they do to the homos, and they're like, shut up, Ted. He's like, fine, and sits down, takes out his phone, and just like starts playing a game. But all you hear is the Angry Birds noise, and it's super loud. Oh, dude, it's so funny. He's just fine, sits down. I was like, oh no, oh god, it gets me every time.
Okay.
Mainly because my dad sits in the corner sometimes of the living room and sits there and plays Angry Birds, and it's so funny to watch. You know what my dad looks like watching him sitting there going, like it's so funny to me. It's so great.
It's the simple things for Josh.
Absolutely. Simple things in childhood trauma.
So I had a hard time deciding for this one because I went back and listened to some of our favorite comedies episode, because I kind of was drawing a blank on some, and I'm going to pick a different moment than I picked in our previous episode, because in that, when I talked about Tropic Thunder, I was talking about, you said you're a farmer. I'm a lead farmer, mother effer. And he pulls out 2 big old ARs from out of nowhere underneath his poncho. No, I think my favorite moment, though, besides that for Tropic Thunder, is anything with Les Grossman, Tom Cruise's character.
Yes.
So, like, this dangerous guerrilla army calls his company more or less for a hostage negotiation, and he's just like, I don't know what kind of Pan Am America BS you're trying to pull on me, but no one screws Les Grossman. I will find you and I will massacre you. I'm talking scorched earth, mother effer. And hangs up. Can you find out who that was? We'll call him back. Like, Tom Cruise makes Tropic Thunder so good. Whether it's him just freaking the crap out on Bill Hader, his poor assistant, or just screaming on a phone, because I don't know if Tom Cruise knew he was supposed to be acting in the movie or not, and he just put on the weight for the role and just kind of was Tom Cruise on the set of Mission Impossible 7.
Cringe.
Either that or one of the best post-credit scenes of all time, when you see fat Tom Cruise dancing with the bling and everything, of just like, it's so much weirder knowing that's not a fat suit. Like,
yeah,
just seeing fat Tom Cruise dance to, I forget what it is, but I forget what the song is. Just, Tropic Thunder's wonderful.
I'm a dude playing a dude pretending to be another dude. Like, good stuff. I feel that. Let's go with Bruce Almighty, when Bruce takes over the teleprompter.
I was about to say a teleprompter scene.
Yeah. So I have a weird relationship with Bruce Almighty, in that, like, it's during that odd time in Jim Carrey's career where he's still pretty funny, but they're trying to do serious-ish stories with him. Like, Bruce Almighty has, like, some heavy content when you go sit down and think about it, but, like, at the same time, it's in the same movie as Bruce Almighty. Like, Bruce is literally sitting there in the corner, like, making Steve Carell say, like, and do some ridiculous things, and it's so odd, but God.
To be fair, though, the only thing that Jim Carrey made in that scene was Steve Carell's career. After that scene, like, everyone knew who Steve Carell was, because if I remember correctly, that was definitely way before The Office. And so, like, that scene, I feel like people were like, oh, who's this scene stealer? We should totally give him his own spin-off movie that in no way will backfire and be one of the biggest financial flops of all time in Bruce Almighty.
Evan wasn't bad.
No, Evan Almighty. But I do know it lost them so much money, to which I'm going, well, why was Evan Almighty such a big budget to begin with? Like, it's Evan Almighty. You don't need a budget for that. So I've got 4 left. One of them is editing. One of them made me cry from laughing. One of them is, I'll say for last because it's my favorite. And the other one is my favorite line, spoken line. What should I tackle, Josh?
Hit me with the spoken line.
Better Off Dead, one of my favorite comedies of all time that 100% could not be made today. The premise of Better Off Dead is a guy played by John Cusack. His girlfriend breaks up with him, and so he's so depressed he wants to kill himself, but none of his ways are successful. So, like, he tries to hang himself, but then he comes to his senses, so he's just like, you know what? I haven't seen Paris yet. I want to keep living. And so as soon as he decides that, he's trying to hang himself from the back of a door. His mom opens the door and accidentally starts hanging him without even realizing it. But the moment in particular that I can always quote that just makes me laugh of going, oh yeah, you definitely couldn't do that today. He's on a bridge over an interstate. He's about to jump into traffic and fall to his death. When his buddy talks him out of it, he's just like, don't worry, there'll be another girl. He's just about to climb back over the fence to come to the normal side. His friend pats him on the back. He falls over the edge and lands in a trash can. He's totally fine. Drives away in the back of the trash truck. You see 2 guys on the top of telephone pole. Looking down, he waves to him. It's a shame people be throwing away a perfectly good white boy.
Ah!
I'm like, that's so messed up.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Let's talk about messed up humor, right? Anchorman is on my list, but Anchorman 2, the only reason is because the line is quoted by me and all of my brothers. Anchorman 1 is funny. It's fine. Anchorman 2 is garbage. It's hot garbage, but it's got its zingers.
Canadian national news, eh?
You know, bats are the chicken of the cave, and cats are the chicken of the rail yard. Like, oh, dude, come on.
Okay, you can't say it's complete trash when you somehow were able to convince Harrison Ford to play a werewolf, and he plays it completely straight.
Okay, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So
how did I convince him to do that is my question. He was totally down for it, but didn't want to come back for Star Wars.
There's so much stuff that happens in Anchorman 2 that don't like. How did you? So one of my favorite, most quotable lines is Ron, like after he says, I forget how it happens because I haven't seen it in so long, but he's like being a hermit out in a lighthouse somewhere, and they all go to visit him, and he's like blind for some reason. I can't remember. Haven't seen it forever. All I remember is the scene of when they're like, he's like, yeah, man, I drank a whole bottle of ketchup thinking it was a bottle of Chianti or something. And they're like, you didn't notice after like the first gulp? And he's like, how many times do I have to tell you? I'm blind. I'm not doing it justice, but there's like just literally 5 minutes of them being like, how would you not notice that? Like, that has nothing to do with you being blind. The movie opens with Brick's funeral as
Brick is there.
He's like, I will miss him so much. Oh,
Brick,
dude.
You're not dead? I'm not?
I'm not? Ron, cruise control only regulates speed. What? Like, gosh. Oh, dude. Such a great movie.
Honorable mention to 4-Year-Old Virgin with the chest waxing scene.
Ooh.
Like,
no, I'm good.
Primarily just because that's another one of those improv of every reaction you see in that movie, in that scene, is 100% legit. So I'm going to send Josh a gift just so he knows what I'm talking about specifically in this next scene. Because What We Do in the Shadows is one of my favorite comedies of all time. And so I already loved it, but there's a scene in particular that there's a character that they're trying to court to be a new vampire, and he catches wind of what's going on. So he's running to make his escape. And one of the characters teases that he can transform. The problem is, he wasn't telling the whole truth. He could transform everything but his face. So he turns into a cat with the face of Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords. And he just, in a human voice, not a cat voice, a human voice, meow. And it's just like, what? I was watching that with my roommate in college at the time. We actually had to stop the movie because we were crying, laughing so hard that we just are holding our stomachs. We fell out of our seats of just like absurdity of what? Just who thinks of this besides the beautiful Taika Waititi? It's just so bizarre seeing a human cat hybrid. And you're going, oh.
And it's so sudden. It's out of nowhere.
Like, yeah, it's like, because you literally just saw the character in regular human form, and then you see him as a cat, and then the very next scene you see a human in his backpack trying to escape and like hug him from behind. What We Do in the Shadows is so dumb. There's so many good lines. I'm doing my dark bidding. What are you bidding on? A new computer table. It looks nice. Or like he's telling this super, super scary story. And then there was Peter. It's like this big scary vampire just nodding along, just like, mm-hmm. What We Do in the Shadows, if you have not seen it, I know the show's super popular, but if you haven't seen the movie, oh my god, the movie, still to this day, I will always crack up that specific part, but the whole movie oh, it just makes me die laughing. Comedy to me is only as good as its rewatchability. If the jokes are still funny dozens of times later, then you know it's something special. And What We Do in the Shadows and the rest of our movies today, I think, stand the test of time because they have such good repeat jokes.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I'm gonna start this off with Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so there's so many jokes that are still funny to this day, but I think the one that still gets me is the combing the desert joke. Like, we've been combing the desert all day, like, and they're like, what? And they can't pan, and they got two stormtrooper guys like literally combing the desert with giant combs.
And they of course have the black guy with the fro pick.
Yes.
Man, we ain't found crap.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
I will say my favorite line from that is either that or I'm a Mog. A what? I'm a Mog. Half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend. Like, so smart and dumb.
Mel Brooks movies in general always hit me in the funny bone. And Spaceballs, definitely not like my favorite Mel Brooks movie, but golly, this is yogurt.
It's just plain yogurt.
Yeah.
All right, how many more you got?
I have 3.
Okay.
I have at least 2 that I know you won't say. So I got to talk about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's
definitely won't have that one.
Yeah, obviously, it's always on my list of everything. Right? I'm gonna have to start getting Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy jar here eventually. But there's a scene in which they go to the planet of the Vogons, and they have to cross this field to get to the city. And one of them has an idea, and he gets smacked in the face by something from the ground. And they're like, whoa, wait, what happened? And somebody goes, I think smack. Nobody have any thoughts of what? No presumptions, no plans, no ideas. And they all just stand there. And then they all get smacked, and then they have to run across the field, getting smacked. It's dude, it's that or towards the end when Ford chases after the Vogons, bandishing his towel, whirling it around, and they all go, these big old aliens with these giant laser guns on their chest go, oh, he's got a towel, and run off in fear. Like, oh, dude, that movie gets me on so many stupid levels.
Yeah, that's the definition of a Josh movie.
It really is. Stupid, weird sci-fi with like the best odd, dry pan humor.
What else?
You know me. This one for me was the hardest to pick one moment from. Hot Rod with Andy Samberg is
Andy Seinfeld.
Andy Seinfeld is easily one of my favorite comedies of all time. Like from the Good Night Denise line to I think it's like 2 minutes of him rolling down a hill, or just absolutely eating it on the first ramp. Like there's so much to good, but I think my favorite thing that happens is the 2 minute long scene of him, like he's having this like happy, like I'm gonna go to my happy place, and he like pans to him on top of a mountain, like with an 80s hair metal band song going off in the background, and like fog everywhere, and he's like flipping and doing at one point he's doing the what is that gymnast thing where it's like a block and he's like twirling around it?
Oh, isn't that like a saddle horse or something?
Saddle horse or something like that. He's like doing that like crazy, doing flips, and then trips over a log and literally falls down. It's like in what is it? Kung Fury, when the baby rolls down the hill for like a solid minute straight. Like it's just, there's so many times like that man should be dead, but he isn't. And it goes on for too long, and that's what makes it so stinking funny.
Pummel horse. That's what
Pummel
it is.
Horse.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a Charlie horse.
That sounds right. Yeah.
So I'll save my favorite for last, obviously, but we can't not talk about funniest movie moments without talking about this. Well, I can't say the Citizen Kane of comedies, because Josh doesn't like Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Neither do I. But like the Mount Rushmore of all-time comedies with Airplane and everything else, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yes.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail, again, shows you editing itself can be ridiculously funny. Case in point, my favorite moment from Monty Python and the Holy Grail is when there's the two guards bored out of their minds standing in front of the castle. One is eating a dandelion, it looks like.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you see a man far off in the distance. Cut back to the two guards. Cut back to the two guards. Cut back. Now the man is further away again. Like he's not actually progressively getting closer. He went back. So he's further away now. Cut back to the guards. Ha-ha! He like teleports out of nowhere. The guy just stabs one of the guards. The other guard, hey, doesn't change after as he runs up the tower. Like this great editing trick of like, it's a solid 30 seconds to a minute of just build up. And you could watch the movie 1,000 times and still the timing will always take you by surprise. Cause you're like, okay. It's like how Family Guy will sometimes overstay their welcome by dragging out a joke for too long.
On purpose.
Yeah, like this, they
so
probably
good.
learned it from this, of just dragging out the joke of like, okay, well, get on with it. Type.
which is exactly like, that is totally something that they joke about the entire series. Like any Monty Python skit, at some point will say like, go on, get on with it. Like, oh, it's good stuff. Monty Python and the Holy Grail is definitely like, it is to me on my Mount Rushmore of comedies. The fact that you have this grand wizard named Tim, you have this giant monster that chases them, and then the animator has a heart attack and dies, and so they get away. Like, that's like, it's just, dude. And the way that, the absolute balls on these men to end their movie suddenly and have, what is it, like 30-45 minutes of black screen with no credits at the end? Like, bro, it's so funny. And like, if you want to talk about a movie that's made on a shoestring budget, like that is one. One of the best
They
jokes
genuinely
of the
ran out
film.
of money.
Yeah, like one of the best jokes in the film is because they couldn't afford horses, so they just had people doing coconuts. It's such a funny movie. I can understand it's not for everybody.
In which case, you don't need those people in your life.
Exactly. But like, gosh, dude, like Monty Python Flying Circus, Life of Brian, like Monty Python, no misses.
Message for you, sir.
I will avenge you. Actually, I think I'll make a recovery.
I will go on and carry on your legacy.
I think I'm gonna be fine.
So you have what, 1 or 2 left?
I got one more.
One more.
I already know what it is for you. We'll both have this.
Is it the same moment? Or is it the same movie?
I don't think it'll be. I know it's the same movie.
Okay, so obviously we're talking about the greatest comedy ever made, Robin Hood Men in Tights. I almost talked about this earlier when Josh was talking about Spaceballs. He was like, I don't think Mel Brooks is my favorite. Spaceballs is my favorite Mel Brooks movie. I'm like, it never will be because Men in Tights exists. Because Men in Tights is such a good Robin Hood parody, but also it's just such a good comedy. There's so many good lines. But Josh, I'll be curious. I don't think we will have the same moment, but what's your Men in Tights moment?
I mean, because it's hard to have the same moment. There's so many good moments. While the running gag of a chew, bless you, is fantastic. I personally love the when Blinking catches the arrow.
Yes,
like,
that's mine. Yes, it
is. How did you do that? I heard it a mile away. Good job, Blinking.
What? Who's talking? Oh, they've opened a salad bar.
Oh my gosh. But like that movie in general, though, like, hold on, guys, give me 2 seconds. Leans down and starts pumping up his Air Jordans. Oh, all right, let's go.
But also, like, I'm a fan of when movies can cleverly break the fourth wall and not just, Deadpool. Deadpool's creative at times, whereas other times they're just like, let me just look at the camera, whether it makes sense or not. But Men in Tights also, I think, has one of my favorite, like, breaking the fourth wall moments of, like, lose? Wait a minute, I'm not supposed to lose. Breaks out the script and everyone breaks out the script. I get another shot. Let's give him the chop. Ah! But yeah, every time I will always die laughing. It's one of my favorite moments is when the Clint Eastwood wannabe, which there's been a couple times that I've watched it and going, is that Clint Eastwood? It's not, but boy, it looks like him from certain angles. Goes to kill Robin. He's about to shoot him, and Blinken just snatches it out of the air, considering he's done nothing the whole movie. It just works.
Well, I almost brought this moment up earlier when you were talking about the girl that gets kicked in the head and her vision changes. But like when Blinken falls off the tower, and he's like, I can see, and it falls on him. Oh, never mind.
Okay. While the catching the arrows will always be my favorite moment, a very, very close second of just randomness that will always get a visceral reaction out of me and bust up laughing is when they're about to start the wedding. Hello, Abbott. Good morrow. Hello, Abbott. Good morrow. Hey, Abbott! I hate that guy. And then he keeps walking and he hits the camera.
Like, oh, dude, I am a sneeze, son of a chew.
Bless you.
Bless you. What? Oh, man.
I need to go back and watch it. I have not watched it this year yet.
I might go back. Like, I might go watch at least one of these movies tonight. Because, gosh dang, comedy is almost a lost art. You know what? I'm not going to be that guy. Comedy's not a lost art.
No, days. Lord and Miller are still crushing it with comedies.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mel Brooks apparently is going to make
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Taika Waititi, bro, so funny.
Taika Waititi does the best sad comedies ever.
Absolutely.
Jojo Rabbit.
Even James Gunn has some really good moments as well.
Peacemaker,
and there's a lot of stuff in Suicide Squad that's cool, very funny. I'll never go as far to say his comedy's dead, but I think it's very interesting to see how comedy has changed from the time of Mel Brooks and like Caddyshack and stuff like that into stuff like Bridesmaids, which is pretty funny on its own, but it doesn't hit for me. And like stuff like The Heat with I just lost their names. Female Chris Farley,
Melissa McCarthy,
yeah, and Sandra Bullock. That's so bad that I said that. I feel kind of bad.
You're not wrong though.
I'm not wrong though. Into like that kind of comedy is fantastic. It's just very interesting to see how things have changed, and that is in part why I am interested in a Mel Brooks movie being made in today's film time. It's be very, very interesting what he's going to be able to get away with and what all he'll tackle, because this is the same man that did Blazing Saddles, which
with
is like,
Richard Pryor.
With Richard Pryor, and just like, or even and Young Frankenstein, which is Young Frankenstein almost made this list too, because gosh, that running gag of what hump is the funniest thing on the face of the planet for me.
Nice, yeah. Knockers. Thanks.
Thanks. Or wait, wasn't your hump on the other side? What hump?
Damn your eyes! Too late.
Oh man, I love Young Frankenstein too much.
Well, what are your guys' favorite movie moments? Not specifically comedies, but specific jokes or gags in movies that will always make you crack up and make you it brightens your day, makes you laugh just a little bit, no matter how many times you watch it. Let us know in the comments. We always like hearing from you guys. And as always, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, or YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. Help us get to 700 subscribers. That's our goal before the end of the year. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.